A very good day for all of you listening. We are continuing our discussion with Budget Week here, and I am thrilled to be joined by Mr. Rashi Dhir. He's an advisor to the US India Tax Forum and a senior partner at DMD Advocates. Good evening, Mr. Dhir, in your part of the world. Hope this finds you well on this Thursday.
Good evening, Ashok. Yep, everything as you know, we're all in the lockdown phase, so it's as good as it gets as long as we are all safe and healthy, and I hope you are safe and healthy too.
Thank you. I'm trying to keep warm and well, and I know that as we go through the lockdown phase, next week is the countdown that we're looking for the budget on February 1st. And given your conversations with corporate India, what's corporate India sentiment right now with the budget coming up? What are the top agenda items that they're expecting from this budget?
The focus this year, as we are hopefully coming out of the pandemic years, so to speak, multiple years, a couple of years that we've been through it. That there is likely this year's budget is likely to be on recovery of the economy, reassurance to the industry, and an indication that that the government is aligned to what's happening internationally and in the markets. So the expectation would be that we would expect some reforms on the that would boost production and employment.
Right, absolutely. And you touched on the fact this is still a pandemic era budget and production and employment. And on that note, just touch on a little bit about the PLI scheme that we have seen across multiple sectors. Given that the government's focus is, as we talked about, geared towards employment, the government's spoken a lot about making India this viable manufacturing hub and making India as a key initiative. What are you expecting in this budget that would cater to manufacturing and employment based initiatives?
Yeah, so I think my expectation is that the government has already made several policies and announcements around infrastructure expansion. So my sense is the theme here is going to be on infrastructure expansion and also on boosting domestic production. And in the infrastructure arena, I expect that the government will continue to talk about implementing the policies that they have announced and expedite the projects that are underway, particularly with respect to roadways and other infrastructure facilities. Um, and then the other element of the infrastructure expansion is also capital raising for investment through asset monetization. So the efforts to meet the disinvestment target for financial year 2021-22 is underway, and raising capital at the earliest and bringing forward the process of monetization pipeline will be key so that the resources can be deployed to accelerate the infrastructure investment. As you may have seen recently, there was a monetization of Air India, and the market is waiting with excitement about LIC as well. So that's one element of the infrastructure expansion. The other aspect of infrastructure expansion would be to focus on the digital economy, and we expect that there will be reforms in that area, particularly with respect to recalibrating the nexus rule, which is related to equalization levy and significant economic presence rules that had come out, and rationalizing those. And also, I think given the importance of cryptocurrencies in the market, particularly on the investment side as an asset as well, we expect some reforms, some clarity on taxation of cryptocurrencies, and hopefully a framework, at least a guidance on what is expected as a framework for regulating cryptocurrencies.
Right.
Um, yeah.
No, absolutely. And digital economy is the focus. As I say, data is the new oil. But there's been this concern in the past when foreign investors look at India, it's this complicated labyrinth and it gets tied up in red tape. But we've seen in the recent years the government's taken some steps, significant steps rather, to improve dispute resolution mechanisms and reduce litigation. We've sort of talked about introduction of faceless assessment and appeals and easier tax settlements. Just break down this complex that we've seen on, you know, from how do we get past uh, is a foreign investor sentiment to come into India right now? What is the government's priority on that?
Yeah, the government has sort of indicated, sort of foreign investment to be a high priority area, particularly with the recent reversal of the indirect taxation, is a very strong indication from the government in realizing that there needs to be more transparency and more clarity. Having said that, with respect to taxation, there has always been a lot of gray areas and uncertainty, and that has resulted in disputes. One of the initiatives that the government did take initially, which it thought would expedite dispute resolution, was the faceless assessment aspect. However, the faceless assessment aspect has faced a lot of challenges because there have been challenges in as the whole process appears to be against the principles of natural justice. So we are